What a great day it was, the day you bagged a 10. Who are 10s? They are the most beautiful women in the world, the 10 out of 10s. Every man wants a 10, and every woman, well, all those on Instagram and TikTok, wants to be a 10, and obsessively follows 10s, in the hope of learning their secrets, tricks and tips. In male-dominated societies, 10s are the supreme trophies. They are those on whom the male gaze falls most intensely, most lustfully, and for the longest time. Many women are invisible. 10s, by contrast, are the most visible individuals on Earth. In so many ways, the world revolves around 10s. The most famous war in literary history, the Trojan War, was fought over Helen of Sparta, more famously known as Helen of Troy. Hers was the fatal beauty that launched 1,000 warships across a tumultuous sea to the bloody beaches and high walls of Troy. Beauty and war are so closely connected, they are practically the same thing. Violence is so often the byproduct of beauty. Many women have been assaulted and even killed because of one thing: how beautiful their attacker found them. Had they been less beautiful, the attacker's eye would never have fallen on them. They would not have come to the attention of the monster and their life would have been spared. Nationalism is all about the imagined beauty of the nation. Patriotism requires endless devotion to this nation, and no other. There is no more beautiful country, the patriot says. George Orwell wrote, "No nationalist ever thinks, talks, or writes about anything except the superiority of his own power unit." It is difficult if not impossible for any nationalist to conceal his allegiance. The smallest slur upon his own unit, or any implied praise of a rival organization, fills him with uneasiness which he can only relieve by making some sharp retort. If the chosen unit is an actual country, such as Ireland or India, he will generally claim superiority for it not only in military power and political virtue, but in art, literature, sport, structure of the language, the physical beauty of the inhabitants, and perhaps even in climate, scenery and cooking. He will show great sensitiveness about such things as the correct display of flags, relative size of headlines and the order in which different countries are named. The nationalist not only does not disapprove of atrocities committed by his own side, but he has a remarkable capacity for not even hearing about them. All sacred causes are infinitely beautiful and inspiring to those who follow them. While they can do no wrong, the other side can never do anything right. A femme fatale, literally a lethal woman, can bring men to their destruction, but too often a woman's beauty proves lethal to herself. It attracts the attention of fatal men, serial killers, control freaks, stalkers, the uncontrollably jealous, and so on. Everyone wants beauty, to have it, or to possess those that have it. This need for beauty, this addiction, has driven so much of the drama of human life. So many men have fallen from on high because a woman's beauty transfixed them. Their hunger for it, their lust for it, made them do insane things, make insane choices. They lost their power of judgment. They abandoned their reason. They went out of their minds. Beauty is the madness generator. Those whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make mad, usually mad over beauty. What was the last evil in Pandora's famous box? Was it hope, or was it beauty? Hope itself is all about imagining that tomorrow will be more beautiful than today. Beauty is one of the greatest powers in the universe, and it is especially associated with women. With 10s. A 10 can make your heart stop. 10s are sirens. They bewitch you. Their perfect faces stare out from vast billboards and cast the profoundest of spells over you. The 10s are pictured on a billion posters. The camera loves them. It can't turn away, any more than the petrified victims of Medusa could turn away. Medusa was herself once a 10, before the jealous gods made her an anti-10. 10 out of 10 in terms of repulsion rather than attraction. Powerful men want other men to know how powerful they are, and that's why you see so many rich and powerful men with a 10 on their arm. When a rich and powerful man does not have a 10 to parade, you know he's gay. Any male celebrity who has a female frump as his partner definitely isn't heterosexual. These are the inviolable rules of the game. Rich and powerful men do not love women. They love themselves, and, as part of their love for themselves, they require trophy girlfriends and wives, i.e., they require the world to see that they are so godlike that they have snared a 10. Look at men like Donald Trump. These are loveless men. All that matters to Trump about his wife is her beauty, her exterior. Who cares what's inside? Trump himself has no inside. Trump exists at the surface of the pool into which he gazes at his reflection, just like Narcissus before him, eternally transfixed by himself, with no energy or desire to look at anyone else, unless to see his own reflected glory. Beauty is the strangest thing. You can't get to see Medusa because she turns you to stone as soon as you look. You can't get to see a 10 either because they also transfix you. You can't move your eyes away. You are rooted to the spot. Every supermodel or movie bombshell renders you immobile. They are all Medusas. You never see the person behind the beauty. The beauty is all. Nothing else exists. Beauty is a superpower. It captivates people. It swallows all their attention. They can't think of anything else. It empties the mind of everything except the image of beauty. Beauty makes some women startlingly visible and at the same time absolutely invisible. All you see is their beauty. You can't take your eyes off it, and so it's impossible to see the real person. They are unseeable. Their beauty blinds you. It possesses you. You never notice anything else. Imagine what that does to a 10's psyche, to always be seen and yet not to be seen at all. No one is ever interested in a 10 except for the fact that they are a 10. It's all that counts. The beauty signal reduces all other signals to zero. The beauty signal has infinite power to captivate, and infinite power to bury everything else. It's the strangest thing to be going out with a 10. It's like going out with a hollow goddess. You're aware that they're a goddess, but you're also aware that what they're like inside has never once occurred to you. Why would it? Who needs it? It's extraneous. You have a vacuous night out with the 10. You don't notice that it's a vacuous night. You think it's a 10 out of 10 night. After all, you're with a 10. Everyone's looking at her, and then looking at you, wondering what it is that the 10 sees in you, wondering how rich and powerful you must be to have snagged a 10, the greatest of all prizes. The truth is that you got her because you are a dominant, and there is a certain type of woman who is spellbound by dominance, the submissive woman. A dominant man may be regarded as an arrogant asshole by many women, especially a woke woman. But a submissive woman melts in the presence of a dominant. She knows that you can deliver what she craves above all else, domination. Very few people have the personal authority and charisma to dominate others. You can't pretend to be a dominant. If you're not a natural dominant, you will never convince anyone that you are. Dominance is every bit as captivating as beauty. The thing about dominance is that they have a tremendous internal energy and often a volcanic hate, rage and menace. It's the danger they exude, the possibility of totally unexpected behavior, which no ordinary man would ever dare to attempt, that makes them so alluring. Just as women can be 10s in beauty, men can be 10s in dominance, and a submissive 10 can easily be drawn into the orbit of a dominant 10, the strange attractor. In these woke days, the days of fake light, no one is allowed to mention the dark impulses of either men or women. These have always been taboo, and they are even more taboo now. They were taboo in conservative times because they seemed anti-Christian, subversive, Dionysian. They were taboo in ancient Rome too. In 186 BCE, the Roman Senate prohibited the Bacchanalia, the raucous festivals performed in honor of Bacchus, the Roman version of Dionysus. The Bacchic mania was deemed a threat to the security of the state, undermining the Roman character. Today, the Dionysian, the Bacchic, is just as threatening as it has always been. The people most terrified of the Dionysian are now the extreme liberals. Extreme liberalism is about political correctness, multiculturalism, love and light, peace, and every progressive cause going. Everything that's right on. You know, all the culture war, hot-button issues. Namaste. Nietzsche wrote, in nearly every instance the center of these Dionysian festivals lay in extravagant sexual licentiousness, the waves of which overwhelmed all family life and its venerable traditions. The very wildest beasts of nature were let loose here, including that detestable mixture of lust and cruelty which has always seemed to me the genuine witch's brew. Dionysian wisdom is an unnatural abomination, and that whoever, through his knowledge, plunges nature into an abyss of annihilation, must also experience the dissolution of nature in himself. Conservatives hate Dionysus because he threatens conservative morality, and liberals likewise hate Dionysus because he threatens liberal morality. For conservatives, Dionysus promotes license and chaos. For liberals, Dionysus promotes cruelty and darkness. Dionysus is the opposite of Christ. As Nietzsche said, Dionysus against the crucified. Christianity comes in two forms, conservative and liberal. Conservative Christianity emphasizes the Old Testament and hell as punishment for unbelievers and sinners. Liberal Christianity emphasizes the New Testament, the Sermon on the Mount, the weak and the meek, peace and love, tolerance and acceptance, turning the other cheek, herd morality, and so on. Nietzsche's Dionysus, who is beyond good and evil, detests both versions of Christianity. Nietzsche said, from the very first Christianity was, essentially and thoroughly, the nausea and surfeit, disgust caused by excess, of life for life, which only disguised, concealed and decked itself out under the belief in another, or better, life. The hatred of the world, the curse on the affections, the fear of beauty and sensuality, another world, invented for the purpose of slandering this world the more, at bottom a longing for nothingness, for the end, for rest, for the Sabbath of Sabbaths. All this, as also the unconditional will of Christianity to recognize only moral values, has always appeared to me as the most dangerous and ominous of all possible forms of a will to perish, at the least, as the symptom of a most fatal disease, of profoundest weariness, despondency, exhaustion, impoverishment of life, for before the tribunal of morality, especially Christian, that is, unconditional morality, life must constantly and inevitably be the loser, because life is something essentially unmoral. Indeed, oppressed with the weight of contempt and the everlasting no, life must finally be regarded as unworthy of desire, as in itself unworthy. What is morality itself? May not morality be a will to disown life, a secret instinct for annihilation, a principle of decay, of depreciation, of slander, a beginning of the end? And, consequently, the danger of dangers? It was against morality, therefore, that my instinct, as an intercessory instinct for life, turned in this questionable book, inventing for itself a fundamental counter, dogma and counter-valuation of life, purely artistic, purely anti-Christian. What should I call it? As a philologist and man of words I baptized it, not without some liberty, for who could be sure of the proper name of the Antichrist? With the name of a Greek god, I called it Dionysian. It's infuriating to see Dionysus being embraced by those who oppose conservative Christianity yet are clear supporters of wokeness. New Age wokeness is nothing but liberal Christianity with Christ replaced by a cosmic Christ, or Krishna, or the Buddha. It's Easternized Christianity. Pathetic Westerners believe that they can disguise their Christian infection by hiding it under New Age verbiage inspired by Eastern mysticism. They fool no one. The unmistakable reek of Christianity hangs over everything the love and lighters, the lightworkers, say. Dionysus is against Christianity in whatever guise. Dionysus is the opposite of a conservative god, and also the opposite of a liberal god. Dionysus is a radical god, an extreme god, a dark god, a god beyond good and evil. He is the strange god, the god that brings strangeness. He is the way out of the conservative-liberal impasse. He is opposed to both. He detests conservative morality and liberal morality alike. Dionysus is the key to lucid sex. For conservatives, sex is vanilla. It's all missionary position and lights out, and let's not be having any fun. For liberals, sex is also vanilla. It's all love, tenderness and mutual respect. Did you just throw up a little bit in your mouth? Neither conservative nor liberal sex is about sex at all. They are expressions of their respective moralities. Conservatives are terrified of enjoying sex. It might cause them to fall and be sent to hell. They see the tale of Adam and Eve as revolving around sexual shame. Eve corrupted Adam by opening his eyes to sexual liberation, causing both of them to become acutely aware of sex, and consumed by it. Genesis chapter 3 verse 7 says, "Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves." Liberals are terrified of sex turning dark into bondage and discipline, domination and submission, sadism and masochism. Liberals are appalled by the idea of women engaging in degrading sex. They faint at the thought of women enjoying being tied up, insulted, humiliated, abused, punished, dominated, blindfolded, restrained, being subjected to any kind of physical violence. They are repulsed by the success of books such as 50 Shades of Grey. They regard the Marquis de Sade as one of the worst male monsters. BDSM is the quintessential Dionysian sex, wild and dark, tuning into the most disturbing undercurrents. The conservatives and the liberals are vanillas who engage solely in acceptable sex. The Dionysians engage in unacceptable sex, the sex that would make conservatives and liberals alike feel ill. The Dionysians choose taboo sex, prohibited sex, the delicious sex of the forbidden. They ate of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and bad sex. Vanilla sex is bad sex. It's practically pointless. It's moral sex, in every way constrained by people's moral sensibilities. It inhibits good sex. It's blind, boring sex. There's no lucidity. Good sex is lucid sex. It's about freeing sex from moral restraints and exploring sex as a way into the deepest parts of the psyche. Sex is not, and never can be, about morality. Abrahamism imposed notions of sin on sex and thereby ruined sex. Buddhism, another disaster, encouraged people to reject sex because it attached you to the world. Too much fun. New Age love and light promoted loving sex only. Another catastrophe. Sex has many more mansions and dimensions than mere love. Some of the best sex involves the purest hate. Only some of the Gnostics, with their idea of sin for salvation, exploring every facet of sex so as to free the soul of curiosity about sex, were prepared to delve deep into the power that sex exercised over the psyche. Sex is not about morality. It's about the unconscious. It's one of our deepest instincts. It can absolutely possess us. It can control us like nothing else. For Freud, everything revolved around sex. Saul MacLeod said, Freud believed that life was built round tension and pleasure. Freud also believed that all tension was due to the buildup of libido, sexual energy, and that all pleasure came from its discharge. In describing human personality development as psychosexual, Freud meant to convey that what develops is the way in which sexual energy of the id accumulates and is discharged as we mature biologically. N.B. Freud used the term sexual in a very general way to mean all pleasurable actions and thoughts. Freud stressed that the first 5 years of life are crucial to the formation of adult personality. The id must be controlled in order to satisfy social demands. This sets up a conflict between frustrated wishes and social norms. Sex is about the id, about Dionysus. Society, always terrified of the Dionysian, imposed the superego and Apollo on sex, ruining it. The old priest came into the bedroom, with his notebook and his set of taboos and prohibitions, and long, so very long, list of sins. Many of these priests were celibates, yet felt qualified to pontificate on sex. Keep your nose out of what does not concern you.